So yeah, keep an open mind and don't put all your eggs in one basket. I don't, don't just throw all your money into this. Like, just test the waters out and do your research. Don't think you're going to be an overnight sensation. Um, Cast your bread upon the waters. Just get in gradually, learn, make friends. Like, not fake friends that you can step on to the next level, but real friends. Like, build relationships, and then even if it doesn't accelerate at the pace you want, you'll still be getting a lot out of it. I do think there is a danger of people getting into this because they think they're going to get rich. And that is a mistake, and they will be let down. But if you're coming in because this is a bridge to more opportunity, then you get it.
Hey peeps, what's up? I'm Anne-Marie Alanis, and this is Rare Digital Bird, a series about artists, their creations, and their experiences, both good and bad, using blockchain technology. In episode 7, we discussed what's happening in the NFT music space, the ecological sustainability of NFTs in the long term, async art making music history with programmable music, and what it was like for London band HMLTD to create the world's first customizable NFT pop song. Guide your cursor up here for the link to episode 7. Now, on to episode 8. There have been a lot of points of contention that have been pushing people to explore platforms on other blockchains for one reason or another. If you've been hanging out in the NFT space in the past few months, you may have heard debates over the ecological sustainability of NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, how Sterling Crispin put it all into perspective, but how people are still understandably concerned. And of course, there's that ongoing scalability problem where the Ethereum blockchain currently can't efficiently handle the mass influx of people using it to buy, sell, and trade in an average of a slow 15 transactions per second versus Visa's 1,700 transactions per second. There are these spikes in Ethereum's transaction fees, aka gas fees. There's also a variety of fees depending on the platform you're using. Sometimes there's fees for listing an NFT, definitely minting an NFT, which is authenticating your art or music on the blockchain, collecting an NFT, changing the state of an NFT like you would with programmable art and music on async.art, selling, buying, or trading cryptocurrency so you can pay for the variety of fees for your NFT, and so on. Even though a platform's commission percentage might be lower than that of a gallery, sometimes when you add it all up, the pricing might be close to comparable, depending. When there's a number of fees and the fees rise, there are collectors that stop collecting and artists that stop minting. Now, the Ethereum Foundation is working on a solution. However complicated it is, they state on their website that it's supposed to arrive in 2022. I mean, your contractor has yet to finish remodeling your home in the scheduled time, so I don't know. But recently I found something promising for Ethereum. There's a protocol called Immutable X. They're in alpha right now, still doing tests, but recently they've been seeing success at 9,000 plus transactions per second. What? Yes, 9,000 plus transactions per second. The co-founder and president of Immutable, Robbie Ferguson, says they're currently in talks with all the major Ethereum-based crypto art marketplaces. OpenSea and Mintable are a couple of those platforms that have announced this. Among many other benefits that remain to be seen, one notable thing: you get zero gas fees. 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 Everybody gets zero gas fees. That was my inner Oprah. It had to come out. Of course, you know, the solution's not free. So the platforms are going to pay, then they're most likely going to pass the charges on to you. But I'm going to venture a leap and guess that it'll likely be lower than what you're paying in fees right now. We're supposed to hear more about this month, maybe from OpenSea, but you know, schedule. In the meantime, artists and collectors have been going to seek out new platforms and new blockchains to boldly go where no Ethereum maximalist has gone before. Strange and new places like Viv3, the crypto art marketplace on Flow, the same place that NBA Top Shots was born. Hic-et-Nunc on Tezos blockchain. I mean, hello, I have never seen so many tweets where the words fun and Hic-et-Nunc. It's so much fun making art. It's so much fun collecting again. It's so much fun swapping. It's so much fun making art again. It's so much fun swapping. Literally, there are consistently rooms in Clubhouse around making, selling, and swapping art on Hic et Nunc, with everyone naming off the object numbers for their art as if it were a fun bingo game. And it is. It is fun. I've tried, and I can't stop. And then there's the Wax blockchain, bringing back the Garbage Pail Kids, because honestly, the Cabbage Patch Kids were terrifying to me. So Garbage Pail Kids was the comic relief that I needed. I'm honestly really sorry that I missed out on those trading cards. So with this blockchain, it's like Ethereum and EOS had a baby, and they named the baby Wax. It's a weird baby name, but you know, it stands for something, and that's Worldwide Asset Exchange. You know, there's a little bit of Pitbull in there, and I can understand the macho confidence because I saw on their webpage that apparently this baby blockchain is a boy, because it says in big words, King of NFTs, which is super confident for a baby, but I can understand because, you know, you got to strut your stuff if you're going to survive in the big world with the popular high school jocks, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. If you haven't already, please help support this channel by subscribing, clicking on the notification bell, and smashing that like button. Speaking of all these blockchains, I know a person who's been on all of them. Joe Chiappetta. Joe Chiappetta is a lot of things. He's both a community leader and a person of faith. He's an author, a cartoonist, an educator, and a pioneering crypto artist. As a community leader, he's a director for Mercy Worldwide, which provides services to the poor. He's authored numerous educational articles about crypto art, as well as several books, including Mega Debt Busters. As a cartoonist, he won the Xeric Award for his work on his graphic novel, Silly Daddy. Silly Daddy Comics is also the title of his ongoing comic strip series, one of the longest running autobiographical family comics in the world. Joe created cartoons and art about cryptocurrency and blockchain before any of us could even mint on a blockchain back in 2015. He exhibited 12 blockchain comics at the 2018 Ethereal Summit in New York, and was the only cartoonist selected for this event to create live interpretive comics covering the show. His work has also been in several exhibits, including the Academy of Fine Arts' 17th Annual Independent Arts Festival in Belgium, the Los Angeles Center for Digital Art, and the Rare Digital Art Feast in San Francisco. He was also involved in the Dada Late at the Tate live drawing show at Tate Modern in London. You can find him on Maker's Place, Super Rare, Atomic Hub, and Pixios, and in the Tomorrow exhibition at the Maker's Place Gallery in Cryptovoxels. Most importantly, Joe is a father and husband. If you're familiar with his work, you know he loves his family, and you'll be seeing that take shape in his most recent project with ArtVndngMchn on Atomic Hub, where he brings together the art of his family, close friends, and his crypto art family with some familiar names such as ROBNESS, Rare Scrilla, Fabi Yamada, and MLIBTY, along with his children, Luke, Anna, Maria, aka famlyphoto, and his wife Denise. Hi Joe, how are you?
Hi Anne-Marie, it's great to see you.
Great to see you too. Thank you so much for being on the show. So let's jump right into it. Tell me a story about how you got into art in the first place.
Well, you know, I can remember just being a little kid at my grandparents' house. Maybe I was 4 or 5, and they had a lot of art supplies for us kids. There's 4 of us, and I just took to it like fish to water. They got me some old Marvy markers. I don't know if they still make those, but I would just tear through paper and markers, and I just love drawing. And to me, it's a second language. Sometimes it can even be a first language, and I just have learned over the years to I need to use use this language of art wisely and gently, and that takes time to figure out. So went to art school, did the zine scene, doing my art, putting them in zines, magazines, and comics, and did also some gallery shows. And it's been then as crypto art came around, art on the blockchain, got into that, and it's been an amazing ride. I'm still here.
Yeah, you've been in the space for a while, and you've also explored a lot of different blockchains as well. But before we get into that, I'd really be interested in finding out like what or who inspires you and your work.
Well, you know, I coming up in just raised in traditional art training, you know, just the kind of the formal college education with the Northern Illinois University. So really inspired by a lot of pop artists, Warhol, Lichtenstein, of course Picasso, before that, the Surrealists, Monet, Manet. Oh, I mean, there's hardly an old master that I don't like too. So just all that is kind of infused into your head, and then you got went to Rome, saw some of the sculptures and paintings there. So this is all swirling around. Then in my 30s, I became a Christian. So you got the power of faith, just coursing through my veins. And that's how can I do art and also communicate a positive, faithful, hopeful, joyful message? And so this is all mixed together, and that's the main influence in what I do. And of course, family is big. I want to make sure I worked at the Chamber of Commerce in Chicago a while ago, and one of the old time city guys, he's like, listen, we're going to be in a lot of committees, we're going to be doing a lot of things, and you got to remember what this ancient saying is, and that's first do no harm. And that's an old Greek saying, and that's also something that I do try to abide by as well. Just if I'm going to do something, it shouldn't be harming people. It needs to inspire.
Great. Tell me more about as far as like family inspiring you, because I see a lot of that in your work. I see like just different family scenes. If you could just like talk more about that.
Yeah, well, it was really big growing up. I'm half Italian, half Greek. So the Greeks, love a gathering. The Italians love a gathering, and then it's all kind of glorified in the movies and all that. So half of it's true, maybe. And when my dad, my mom, they're incredible people. They instilled respect, integrity, loyalty into me and into all of us. Really, they did an amazing job. And then when I started having a family, then I wanted to really learn how to, okay, how do I do this? How do I make this? How do I make my own family also a family of integrity? And that took a long time to figure out. It really did. And so in the early days, I started writing about it and drawing about it in my comics, and it's called Silly Daddy. And I still do these Silly Daddy comics today. Last book I put out was in 2017. A full paperback book, and then I also put out a zine as rare digital art called Silly Daddy Zine, and it has a lot of family stuff in there. But the goal is to, I think in recent times, family kind of gets a negative rap, like, oh, family means boring, it's not cool, oh, I got to go with my dad. But it's really cool. Like some of my most exciting times I remember is with my dad, just doing exciting, adventurous stuff. So I just really want to make sure that it's a positive force in society.
Yeah, family is also really important to me. So when I see your work, I can relate to it really well. Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So what's your thought process, and as well as your creative process when you're doing your work?
So it kind of depends on what I'm approaching. If it's about real people, I want to make sure that. Now, in the early days, I was just like, hey, I'm just going to draw this, and whatever you think, I don't care. And that's kind of how I rolled from 16 to about 30. But then I realized, you know what? There's some things I could do that could hurt people's feelings if I don't draw them in a way that is like, for example, if you're drawing somebody but you make them look weird or ugly, like I have to really be sensitive to that stuff and and as a cartoonist, you got to understand the culture of cartoonists is you parody stuff, you make fun of stuff. And so I had to learn how to do that without disrespecting people. And sometimes there's just stuff I just stay away from. So I usually stay away from political stuff because usually you're trying to trash somebody. So I try to do things that are, okay, well, what's true, what's noble, what's excellent, what's praiseworthy. Think about those things. So that's what I try to write about, or what's funny and not gonna rip somebody. So I want to do that. I tend to like bright colors. I don't want people to look at my art and think, wow, he just labored over this forever and ever. I used to do that. But I want to be able people to look at what I create and think, this is a breath of fresh air. Cool, awesome. I think I want that. Or let me share this with somebody else. So that's what I want to leave people with. Hey, life's good. God's good. there's hope in this world. This is let's make the most of every opportunity. Those are the kind of things I want to communicate.
Yeah, I feel like we need that more than ever.
I totally agree. I need it, and I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, yeah. And what about the creative process, like the actual like technical parts?
Yeah, that's evolved over the years. I used to use, the old school #2 pencil and, just kind of hack out my lines, and it took forever. And then you're erasing, and then I graduated to the markers and the paints and canvases and stuff like that. But now in the digital age, I just have my iPad. It's got Procreate on it. It's got a gazillion colors programmed into it and all these different brushes. So now I tend just to go right from the stylus right into the art with not a lot of redoing things. Now, if you're doing a really tighter drawing that, you have to kind of work out some angles, I may hack through that and trial and error, but a lot of it is really fresh, from life types of drawings, or that's the sketch is captured right away, and then it's a matter of refining things and layering things and just making it all work together. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at something I've created and you're thinking, man, that just took forever, and that's just, I don't ever want to do that. Like, that's not what I want to communicate. I want to communicate with people, hey, everybody can communicate in this language. It's fun. It's not going to save the world. It's not going to save the world in any way, but it's a great way to express yourself. It's a great way to communicate, share ideas, and really be able to build community as you do that.
Right, right. Yeah, I was just recalling the piece that we helped you auction at the Digital Art Feast.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite pieces that you did, because there's just so much meaning behind what you drew. So
I'm glad you saw that in. I think it was at a time when people couldn't visualize what rare digital art, what NFTs were. This is still pretty new in the space. And so I'm like, I'm tired of explaining it. It takes, 10 paragraphs to explain it if you're not into this space. So I'm like, let me just draw a picture, send you the 1,000 words. Picture tells 1,000 words. And okay, now I see it. And so, yeah, that was a really well-received piece. I'm really grateful for that. And I pray every morning. I think it's every morning for this. I pray every morning, but I don't know if I ask for this. But what I pray for is, God, give me the ability to get things right on the first time, as opposed to doing something and having to redo it because nobody gets it. Just let me get it right on the first time. Because hey, I've got, I'm in my 50s. I've probably got more years behind me than ahead of me on this earth, and that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. So I don't want to waste time if I can help it. I want to get it right the first time.
Yeah, making the most out of the time you have. Yeah, for sure. So I also noticed that in a lot of your work, or at least some of the works that I've seen you do, it has kind of like a machine kind of vibe, or there's like buttons or things like that. And that brings us to your concept coming up here, an upcoming project that you'll be launching soon, called ArtVndngMchn. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so the whole machine stuff, I've early on I got into surrealism, and it's just a lot of fun to imagine, just sort of different things in life, different ways that things can operate. And as with, our more reliance on machinery and technology and things like that, I've just had a lot of fun. Like, I haven't had any Terminator experiences or anything like that. Nobody's coming after me, with robots and stuff like that. So I've had fun with it. I still remember being a kid playing Mattel Electronics 1, the big white device, and there's giant buttons, and the blips were just little blips, and the blips would fight again. There was no graphics. It was just a blip that would fight against another blip and try to, and that was it. And Pong. So that the simplicity, the lighthearted, fun nature of that, I try to capture in a lot of my work. I think it's kind of like the next step in the evolution of pop art. Not that I see myself as a pop artist, but it's certainly a big influence. So all that has kind of been infused into this new project called ArtVndngMchn. And the whole idea is you can, you could go and buy individual pieces of art. That's cool. And that's kind of how the market runs. But I also remember the days where you could go to the store as a kid, and you can still do this, and you would buy, a package of trading cards. And when I was a kid, there was Marvel stickers, and this was the classic artists, Ross Andru, John Romita, all the Marvel artists. And then of course the Wacky Packages, which kind of the next generation, that would be the Garbage Pail Kids. Some people might remember, but before there was Wacky Packages, and it was so much fun. It was like a lot of Mad Magazine crazy stuff. Crazy the magazine, not crazy insane. Although some of that stuff was both. So, but you didn't, when you got your pack or your Star Wars cards, you didn't know what you were going to get. Now, for me, I value those things as much as people today would value, their Picassos, their Matisses, that kind of thing. And so, what I liked about it was it was portable. You could show them, you could bring them to school, you could show them to your friends, and if you had doubles, you could trade them. And that was cool. And to me, that experience, I miss it. And we had a taste of it in the zine scene in the late 80s and the 90s. I was part of it. And, I published the early Silly Daddies as zines. And again, okay, well, this person is a zinester, and you are, and I am, and I've got extra copies I didn't sell out at this convention, so here, let's trade. And so you're trading these fine art creations. And so I wanted that aspect to be all wrapped up in a project. And then lo and behold, blockchain comes around where you could issue your art as a rare digital collectible item. And that's cool. So you're selling stuff. I'm doing that in the early days of it on Bitcoin, running on top of Counterparty blockchain. And you're also doing it on Ethereum in the early days. And then Wax comes along, another blockchain that kind of learned a bunch of things from these other blockchains and said, well, let's make this awesome for art. And so what they did was they said, let's build a pack concept where the art, you can't see what you're getting a digitally wrapped bundle of rare digital art, these NFTs in a pack. And the packaging is cool, and you know what the odds are of getting various cards, various fine art pieces in this. And so they're already doing this, but not with fine art, but with more on the commercial side. They're doing this with Godzilla, with baseball cards is coming out. They're doing this with just all sorts of Street Fighter, all kinds of different intellectual properties. Someone's like, well, is anybody doing this with fine art where it's not everything's on a template. It's not a card set. It's just fine art, but collected in these packs where you get the surprise of discovering your, I just bought a pack of 8 cards in this set. I open up, hey, wow, I'm instantly an art collector now. I just have a pack of cards now. I'm an art collector. So I wanted to create that experience. So how do you deliver that? Well, I thought, well, let's do an art vending machine where you put your token in. Now it's all digital, imagine, but you buy the pack, and then what you're going to see when people buy the pack is they will see a video of, and I work with a 3D designer to do this. I drew it up. I told her how I want the motion to go after I drew up this machine. And so you'll see somebody put a coin in, and then then the art will spin, and you'll see a bunch of art that's in the pack spinning, and then it'll stop spinning. Some lights will beep beep beep, and then out will shoot some art, and you'll zoom into that slot just like a candy machine. You pick your things, you pull the lever, the art comes out, and the angle is going to zoom in and then go dark into the slot, and then the art that you have is going to drop down. So we're recreating the experience of going and buying candy, but it's art. from a vending machine. So that's what we're doing.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and you know, you could then once you get that pack, you could sit on it. You don't have to open it. You could, and I did that as a collector. Collectors who've collected cards in the past understand that. Okay, man, I've had this pack for like 10 years of these old Batman cards from Batman movie 1 with Michael Keaton. I don't know what's in this. I really want to know what's in it, but I like the fact that the pack is still sealed and the bubble gum is probably still rotting in there, and that's cool. And maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll just keep it. And so that's going to be, now there's not going to be bubble gum, so don't get too fired up. But there's going to be all fine art from I think 14 different artists, international, around the world. And you'll have that sense of discovery where, man, I might have a rare Scrilla, or I might have a ROBNESS one of one in this pack. I don't know. Or I'm just going to rip them open right now, click to rip and open, then you see them, and then I could sit on them in my collection, or if I have doubles, or if I want to put those back on the market, I could do that. So that's going to be the experience of this exciting project called ArtVndngMchn. And just so people know, it's ArtVndngMchn, but without all the vowels except for we're keeping the A. So spell out ArtVndngMchn, take out all the vowels except for the first one in art. That's how you find it.
Okay. And how did you end up with that name?
That's an interesting story. And so originally, and so there's images of this in the collection. And I don't know if we're going to call them error cards or error fine art, but I originally was going to call it Art Slot Machine. And I actually have released on Maker's Place and a few other places, just individual art pieces of a slot machine that you pull the lever, you put a coin, you pull the lever, and out comes, you win art from it. So I was thinking that, and then I talked to my lawyer, and she's amazing. She's just a great lawyer. She's been in the crypto space a long time. And she had some very good advice for me. She's like, you know, if you do that, you could get falsely tagged as running a gambling operation. Now, I don't want anything to do with gambling. All right, life is enough of a gamble. So I'm like, let's change the name. But I have all these pieces that still are art slot machines. So we'll put them in there, but we'll create new pieces and call it a vending machine. And then, you know, nobody's gambling in a vending machine unless something gets stuck. But that's another story. It's all blockchain, so nothing's going to get stuck.
Okay, all right. That sounds so interesting. I love the interface. I didn't know that was a part of the whole presentation. So that's fun. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with this. And then the latest is we're going to be giving. So I've been a volunteer in an organization called Mercy Worldwide for, and my family too, off and on for 15 or more years. And so I know they do legit good projects around the world, Mercy Worldwide. And so 10% of the revenue from this that I get will be going towards Mercy Worldwide. They have a school outside of Lagos. It's like super needed. It's considered like the poorest, one of the poorest floating cities in the world, and obviously it doesn't float. It's a super poor city, very, very depressed economy. So that's going to be going to buy school supplies for 100 kids in the school through Mercy Worldwide.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's so great. I also recall you mentioned Scrilla and ROBNESS. So who else is involved in this?
So it's a colorful cast of characters, and just working with everybody has really I love, I like to draw and stuff, but drawing is actually a very lonely business because you're nobody's with you. Oh no, it's not like you're doing and then somebody else is. It's you're just doing it by yourself. So creating a project like this, we're bringing people together, which is so much fun. I do want to do more things like this. So what I want to do is bring together people who, a mix of roughly half and half of established fine art crypto artists that are, you know, considered OGs in the space, kind of like myself, that have been around since the beginning or near the beginning. And so it's like roughly half is those types, and the other half is mostly people who are either established artists but never into crypto, or completely emerging artists that are talented but just haven't released hardly anything anywhere. So the whole idea is there's a lot of mentoring that's going on in this, and so that's really exciting. So I'll just kind of run down the list of people. Aside from myself, there's ROBNESS. There's Marko Zubak. He's an amazing artist from Croatia. There's also mBlu, and mBlu is just an incredibly talented musician, artist, leader. He's just an all around amazing fella. And he also leads Uplift.Art, and he's also part of Uplift World, which is a Minecraft world where we'll be able to sell these in a 3D environment once we build that piece into it. So that the pieces that you get here from ArtVndngMchn will also be able to be bought additionally later in the resale market on this Minecraft world that they've built called the Uplift. And then there's Fabi Yamada. Fabi's amazing. She's a Mexican artist, and she's the designer. She does her own stuff. It's really cool, and she also did the 3D work on the ArtVndngMchn, and she also did 3D work on Art Slot Machine. You'll see them both in the collection, and her own work is just so heartwarming as well. And then there's Laerth Motta. He is an incredible, he's like hip deep, legit painter. This guy paints amazing, just scenes with a lot of character, and realistic painter. And he's from Brazil. Then in Guam we have Sean Okana. He's basically a rapper, a preacher, and a musician and an artist. So he's got some really interesting mixes of things in here. And then Beth Cohen. She does all kinds of just hopeful, faithful, joyful, uplifting art, and she's also a women's ministry leader, and actually a great friend to our family. Then we have Jen Lazaro. She's also just a very talented, lighthearted, fun artist. We also have Paul Baldwin. He's American, and he does a lot of landscapes, watercolors. He has a piece here. So Scrilla, all right, Rare Scrilla. He's just super talented musician, artist, crypto art OG. The piece he has in there is something he did with his 12-year-old son. So this is like got family all wrapped around it. It's a really cool piece. Yeah, they're kind of working. Their name is Rare Scrilla and Son. So that's they released a piece. So there's just a lot of just household unity built into this, and we've just kind of built a cool community. I'm just really grateful. And then of course my youngest daughter Anna, she's my youngest, and I had 2 kids before her, and they weren't the ones that learned a lot of art from me all throughout the ages. They learned art from me here and there, but Anna is like the most like me creatively in terms of she loves to draw. She could sit there and draw all day. And she's super talented. She's already sold some pieces on the Ethereum blockchain and Rare Digital Art. She has a bunch of really cool pieces in this. And then my son Luke, who's very entrepreneurial, and he does a lot of work with AI and using modern technology to craft the art. And he's got some really cool animations, and he's got kind of like just an explosive spirit. So it's exciting to see what he's come up with. And then there's my wife. She has a piece in there. She's a very seasoned, talented writer and editor. She's written 2 books, one with me and one on her own. She also plays the harp, a lyre, and she has a piece that she did in there. And then last but absolutely not least is my oldest daughter, the reason why I became a silly daddy in the first place, Maria Chiappetta, and she goes by the stage name of Family Photo without the I. And she's also in the collection. She's does a mix of writing, spoken word, and AI generative art, and just the mix of all that is really exciting to see together. So this is just an international, colorful cast of characters.
So I'm just really I'm just very grateful for this crew of people, and yeah, we can see that Maria is here with us. So
yeah. Yeah, so Joe just gave us a really awesome introduction to you, Maria, aka Family Photo. So I'm glad that you could join the show today along with Joe. Obviously, you guys are related. So as a part of this project, there's definitely a family presence. If you could just tell us a little bit more about yourself as an artist.
Yeah, up until this project, my main form of art was writing. I write poems and stories, and also a little bit of music. I play a couple of instruments, not very well, but I like making music. And yeah, music and writing is kind of my background. I always sang and did like musicals over the years, and
they're awesome.
I don't know, but
he's your dad, so he's gonna be.
Yeah, he is a great supporter.
He really is awesome.
But when my dad approached me about doing ArtVndngMchn, initially I was going to just do like some text-based pieces, but I sort of veered away from that and started experimenting with making images and visual art and video art, and that's been really exciting because it's kind of returning to what we did when I was a kid. Like it's something that I haven't revisited since I was a kid. Like we would draw together, but I kind of didn't do that for most of my like teen and adult life until now, and it's been really fun to return to.
Yeah. So that's really cool. You kind of explained there how you got into art. It kind of flowed from words to visual. So you have a little bit of your mom's influence, I would say, right? Because she's more a writer.
My mom is an excellent writer.
So what else inspires the words that you come up with, as well as the visual art?
It's hard to say. I really just try to listen and observe, and a lot of my pieces are combining either poems with images that I just sort of intuitively think belong together, or I think they want to be together, so they go together. It's a very intuitive process that's hard for me to explain, but at this point I'm just trying to experiment and have fun and just listen, and that's been really rewarding.
Did you want to explain a little bit more about how you got into your creativity? Like, is there a little story behind that, or?
I don't have one moment really when that happened. Art is something that just sort of always has been around. Like I grew up, my dad was like, he's been drawing me since before, like literally before my birth. Like he drew me in the womb. Like I have been in the comics since then. So art was just always around growing up. It was a part of my daily life and routine. We would go to the park and my dad would be drawing. I would go on a field trip, and if he was there, he would be drawing. He was just drawing, and art was always present. So it was just sort of always in my mind. So even if I wasn't actively making it, it was still there, which maybe sounds dumb, but
No, it's definitely not dumb.
but yeah, over the years, writing and music were the forms I gravitated towards, just because I really didn't explore visual art for whatever reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're a part of this art vending machine now. So how did that come to happen? And maybe even tell me about one of your pieces.
Yeah. My dad approached me. I'll say that I'm very new to the crypto world. I am not someone who can speak about it with any kind of authority. And I previously was very skeptical, to be honest. I was like, I don't understand this. I just don't get it. And part of me still doesn't. But I just have a lot of faith and trust in my dad and his vision. And when he approached me, for some reason, I was just like, yes, I would love to work with you. It's kind of this return to childhood joy. And that's kind of what this has been, which has been so rewarding in a profound way. But one of my pieces is called Love Flow. It was a video that had been sitting on my phone for a couple of years. When I say I've always been making art, or I've always been an artist, but I didn't really claim that or know that, it was because I would have these things sitting around and I wouldn't do anything with them. So I had this video on my phone that I had taken one night in my room. I was just sort of I was watching a movie or something, and I had a candle going, and the light from the candle and the flicker from the movie was casting this incredible light on this object that I don't even know how to describe. My mom had sent me groceries, and I don't know if you can imagine, it's a metallic bubble insulated envelope that groceries came in. Anyway, it was a really nice object, and the artist in me was like, I'm gonna do something with that, but I never did. It just sat around forever and ever until this very moment, and I was like, oh, this something very beautiful is happening. And I took a video. Anyway, that sat on my phone for years and years. Recently I came across it and I was like, oh, now I know what I'm going to do with it. And I paired it with a field recording I had on my phone that I had recorded of some running water. Anyway, my process is very just sort of feeling and listening. Yeah, I can't take a lot of credit for it. What I can say is I just try to listen and observe and use what's already there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, even though it's intuitive, it's just as valid. I think that's really great. So I guess we can talk more about actually the art vending machine project itself, regarding maybe just what exactly is being offered. Anything else? I know it's gamified in some way. You said something about it being in packs, Joe. So maybe if you could go a little deeper into what's being offered, how does it work, how's it gamified?
Yeah. So one of the reasons why we did this is to make right now, the traditional art world, it's hard to have fun in it. A lot of things are still closed. I understand things are opening up, but a lot of museums are still closed. And even when they're open, everything is kind of reserved, and you can't touch anything, and you can't play with anything. You can't take your art and then do something else with it. there's less element of surprise. So I wanted to bring, one of the reasons why it's gamified is like I said, it's in these wrap packages, and so you don't know exactly what you're going to getting. There's odds of getting certain things, and so the game is, well, will you get, stuff you really want, or do you need to get another pack and maybe you want more, and so there's the kind of mystery of that. I like that. And there's going to be 2 sets coming out. One's going to be called the standard pack of NFTs, and they'll be wrapped so there'll be 4 NFTs in there, and they'll be for a very affordable price point. Like it'll be $10 worth of wax tokens. So that's the entry level. You could just get 4 NFTs at a time, and you can buy multiple packs if you want. And then in those standard packs, there's all levels of cards in there, but the way it's structured is there's a lot more of the non-rare cards. There'll be some rare cards, but mostly the common and uncommon cards. And then in the master packs, there's going to be 8 cards. So when I say cards, 8 NFTs that are pieces of fine art. And in both, it's all fine art of different shapes and sizes, videos, animations, paintings. And so you'll get 8 of those, but the rarity is only 1 of 1s or editions of 9 or editions of, I think, 35. So if you get this master pack, you're guaranteed to get an extremely rare card. And most of the ones by the crypto art OGs are in the rare, but they are in the master pack. But that's for you can get 8 NFTs for $100. So my stuff, some of my stuff on the Ethereum blockchain in places like Maker's Place and Super Rare, some recent resales have gone for thousands. They've sold for thousands of dollars. So this is like, I wanted to create this as a bargain where, yes, I know my stuff is selling for high prices. So is ROBNESS and Scrilla, and mBlu as well. But I wanted to make this, let's bundle it all together. A rising tide raises all boats. Let's make it affordable, $100 for 8 NFTs. And then you'll be exposed to fresh, hungry people like Maria, who is doing it how we got into it, and how, frankly, we got good in the early days is just, we were just doing this for fun. We were just doing this for exploration. And that's why I know, like, I just expect her work to be good. And when I see it, I'm like, yes, that has it. Because you're hungry. You got that eye of the tiger. So that's the packaging of it. And then I'm not going to promise some of this, but some of the things I'm working on is the possibility of having these cards, these NFTs, these fine art digital items, these pieces of rare digital art. You may be able to take them and then put them on another network when you own them and stake them. It's called staking. So you kind of lock them into this other platform, and you may get other things for that. Or I'm working with other people that possibly develop it where you could use these pieces as in-game items to battle, like in a battle where your art is your shielding. So that's not out of the gate, but those are some of the things that we want to do. So the gamified level 1 is just what we talked about, where I think it's the first time fine art is in wrap packages as NFTs on the Wax blockchain with multiple international artists, and then there'll be more games to come.
Okay. Wow, that's really interesting that you can put it on different platforms and use it in different ways. And so you're going to have 2,000 of the standard packs and 200 of the master packs.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. So those master packs they're gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm actually torn. I'm like, I kind of want to buy some myself. I guess I could. I have to figure that out, or do I just release them all? And they'll all be released on May 8th. And that.
I already got my wax wallet, so I'm like getting ready.
You're a wise woman.
So in the actual standard packs, there will be I guess a percentage of the OGs as well.
Yeah.
Is it like high, so it's higher in the master packs, but a little less in the standard packs.
Yes. So in the standard packs, there's every level of rarity you'll have exposure to. But in, like, for example, for the mythic level, which we call 1 of 1, it's like I think it's a 0.1% chance of getting a 1 of 1 in a standard pack. And then it goes slowly up from there. But in the master packs, the only NFTs you'll get are the 1 of 1s or the editions of 9 or the editions of 35. So there's no chance of getting an uncommon card or some of those other levels. Now, what's cool is there's some art that we've released that I don't want just 1 of 1. So there's some actually there's a lot of really good pieces that are in the uncommon set. So like there's an edition of 195 or something, or there's some that are editions of 300. So like if you just get the master, you won't get all. So there's also the whole game of, well, how deep do I want to go down this rabbit hole? Do I want to try to get as much of the whole set as I can? So there's a game behind that too. The fun of how much can I collect, or how much can I get doubles of and then try to trade for? Because in the Wax Atomic Hub marketplace that we're using, you can do trades. You could, if you have, two pieces of fine art from the collection, and you see somebody else that has 2 and you don't have one, you could offer a trade, and it'll show up as, oh, so and so's offering to trade, and you're not exchanging any currency for it. You're just swapping the card for the card, just like you would if you were at the lunchbox school ground playing for that. Or some people will put it on the market and try to resell it, and that's fine too. So there's a lot of different nuances you could do with this.
Right, different scenarios. If it's unopened, then you could trade a full unopened pack, correct?
Yeah, my guess is most people who have packs unopened will not be trading. They'll be sitting on them, like hodling, hold on for dear life, and wait.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they'll be selling them, like at a premium. So they're going to get it for 100, and then a few days later, let's say it sells out the day of all those 100. I would be very surprised if people don't put some back on the market for a higher price. I can't guarantee that, but that's a real possibility.
And so for the packs that are opened, they can be traded separately.
Yeah. So once they're open, now they're not connected to they're still part of the ArtVndngMchn collection, but they're now just individual NFTs that could be traded, sold, or hodled.
Wow, that's very exciting. You did mention wax, and I'm sure a lot of people are not familiar with other blockchains outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Could you kind of maybe explain that more? Maybe compare?
Yeah, sure. And what I think is this is why it's so good to have Maria in on this, because she's not a crypto native, and it was very easy for her to. I just sent her a link. Hey, go to here and you could get a Wax wallet. And now she has a Wax wallet. And then I said, oh, let me show you how this works. And I sent her, because I am already on Wax in their Atomic Hub marketplace, releasing art individually, not in packs, and it's doing well. And there's some that I release multiple editions of, and so I'm like, here, let me show you how this works. Let me just send you a free piece of rare digital art. And so I sent it to her, and now it's in her wallet, and she could see it, she could trade it, she could resell it. And so once people like Maria and others see the ease of this, and that there's nothing to download, there's no, wait, I gotta go into my BIOS and change stuff, and I gotta do what to my browser. There's none of that. It just works. Now, sadly, with some of these other chains, some of this, they have what's called transaction fees, and that they're mimicking real world where, you know, you go to Visa and the merchant is charged, the merchant has to pay a percentage back to Visa or whoever for their fees. Well, with blockchain, the way they structured in the beginning with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a number of others, is the network has these transaction fees, and the the challenge with that is, even though the art is still moving, but less so on those chains, is not a lot of people, or a smaller number of people want to pay a transaction fee when they can go somewhere else and not pay a transaction fee. They just need to move to another blockchain. So I've seen this a number of times in Ethereum, and I've released tons of stuff on Ethereum. I love Maker's Place. That's how we met. And love Super Rare, love the people, but I'm a frugal person, and I don't want to have to release a piece of art and pay $50 in a transaction fee that's not going to a collector, not going to Maker's Place, it's not going to Super Rare, it's just going to some miner somewhere, because the fees are all jacked up. The fees, they should be just maybe I'll pay 50 cents, but it's gotten out of control. And I understand that there's some solutions that they're trying to work out, but this has been going on. This has happened multiple times in Ethereum cycle, which is where most of the art market is that's in NFTs is doing business. So meanwhile, Wax comes on and they're like, hey, let's just do cards. Let's just, with no transaction fees. Boom, Garbage Pail Kids, that sells out. Hey, William Shatner, hey, let me put out a set of cards too. Cool. They does that sells out. Then you got Spock's family, Leonard Nimoy. He puts out a collection. Maria's a big Star Trek fan, and you'll see some influence.
Me too.
There's no Star Trek cards in there. We're not messing with intellectual property or copyright, but you'll see the influence. You'll see it in the, it's a very influential thing. So a lot of different. Wax is already up and running. It works. It's proven. It's not like, oh, this is going to break. The network is international. It just works, and I'm very grateful. And the community is really welcoming, and yeah, and it's the perfect. It is the perfect blockchain for art. It really is, and for new people, because the growth isn't going to come from all these the people who've been in crypto like us. The growth is going to come from mainstream art world that is just now paying attention. Oh wow, I could sell my digital art without having to, trade discs on the street corner. Yeah, you can. It's called blockchain, and Wax is where you can do it. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it was very, very easy to sign up for a Wax wallet. So I can totally see people just easily getting into this for sure. Is there anything else you want to share about ArtVndngMchn?
Well, yeah, there is. I'm really grateful that this is a family project. Like literally all of my kids and my wife are in it, and people that I've worked closely with, like Fabi, and just good friends are involved. And then we've also doing this in collaboration with EOS USA, which provides a lot of blockchain solutions for people and companies around the world. And they're also into the Wax ecosystem. And then as well as with Uplift.Art, they're also in collaboration. They also release art and give a great percentage to charity. So I'm basically just imitating them, and then I'm part of that community as well. So I'm really grateful to be able to do this with these collaborative partners.
Very cool. I love that whole family angle to this. We always talk about how community is so important, in the crypto art world, and to bring family in just makes it a little more heartwarming and just like a tighter knit kind of community. I love that. I always wish that the more popular artists would kind of do a big brother, big sister kind of, setup with like artists, newly emerging artists. I wish there was more of that. And so I think this is kind of like a nice example of something like that.
That's exactly why we did this. And then the thing, and Maria could talk about this too, is what so many maybe realize, but sometimes it escapes their mind, is yes, maybe I'm more experienced and so I can show people stuff, but the people just coming in are also inspirational too. Like Maria did something that just blew my mind. And some of her creative things, like she had touched on something that I forgot about, and it just made me even more vigorous to create more for this project. When she made, do you want to touch on
Which one?
the one where it was just a photo you released, or maybe it was a comment with the photo, and you said we're putting the band back together.
Is this actually, is this part of the project, or is this
a piece? This is just this is just an Instagram post on famly.photo. You can find me on Instagram. No, it was just sort of a silly promotional inside joke that is a photo of me and my dad, and it's a Blues Brothers quote, which, by the way, I've never seen Blues Brothers. Sorry, everyone. But anyway, it says, we're putting the band back together. It was just a joke, but it was true too.
Yeah, maybe we need to. I reserved a few slots in the project, so maybe we need to turn that into an NFT.
Yeah.
But it's an old photo when I was much younger.
Yeah.
And she's 4 or 5 in that picture. Yeah.
Cool.
But that captures the spirit of this thing. Like we're putting, I'm in, we're in California. She's in Chicago. Maria's in Chicago. So yeah, it just has and to me, it's a dream come true to be able to do something with all of my entire family creatively. That's fun. That's just a dream come true. And then also be able to work with, international, super talented, additional artists from around the world, and then partners like Uplift.Art and EOSUSA, and working with Atomic Hub to make this happen. So I feel very grateful. I am grateful.
You mentioned EOS and WAX and Ethereum. I'm really interested in, like, how did you even come across blockchain just in general? Like, how did you get into it? Everybody has a story, so.
Yes. Well, so I mentioned earlier I worked at the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce for many years, and I've always been entrepreneurial, putting out books and zines and art projects, and at the Chicagoland Chamber, they're always it's like the premier chamber for Chicago. So they had an entrepreneurial center, they had an innovation center, and so you're always looking at what's new, what's disruptive, what's possibly going to change different business paradigms. So you're just kind of trained to look for that, and then at the same time. So my wife and I we do a lot of shepherding in the church, and I was just getting bothered. This is many years ago, by how many people were in, like people would come in and they'd want to study the scriptures, get involved and get some help, and then they just drop off this face of the earth. And often it's because they had jobs that they'd taken other states or other cities, or they had weird hours and you wouldn't see them again. And then there's just a lot of people just struggling financially. And I was one of them. And so I'm like, let me study out let me try to get some wisdom about how do you manage money well. And so I started studying economics, money, and what does the Bible say about it? What is, some of the best people that I admire say about it, people in my life. And so I ended up writing a book that turned into a book called Mega Debt Busters. And so in that exploration, I discovered something called Bitcoin. And it was still crazy. I think at the time it was still maybe $100. It was very early. And so I started looking into this, and I'm just like, I showed my wife this stuff, and she's like, "Huh, yeah, go ahead." And she just kind of just wrote it off. "Yeah, go ahead, sure, go use one of your things, go ahead." And then a few years later, I was still following, and so I started doing comics about Bitcoin, and some of them are released in the Silly Daddy 2017 collection I put out. This is before you could put your art on the blockchain, all right? So this is before NFTs. So, a few years go by, I'm doing, now Ethereum comes out, I'm doing art about Ethereum. And that was the original term of crypto artist, is just, you're doing art about cryptocurrency. That's what a real crypto artist is. And then lo and behold, I found out, I started finding out, I think it was the 2017, even though it had been started in very experimental ways before this, mostly experimental, but that you could actually take art and put it on the blockchain tied to these tokens. And so then this was on Counterparty riding on top of Bitcoin. And I'm just like, okay, I've got to do this. How can I do this? I'm not technical, not much technical. So I finally got with some people that helped me to do it. And so we released this through Everdream Soft, some artwork on the blockchain riding on top of Counterparty, and Bitcoin. And so that was the beginning. And those pieces I still use today. In fact, Scrilla and I recently traded. Like, I'm like, hey, I really like this piece. And so he contacted me. I said, yeah, well, yeah, you pick. He opened up his whole collection. You pick, what do you want for mine? So we traded just like little kids at lunchtime. And it was awesome. And I got an awesome piece, and he got a piece he likes. And so that spirit of freshness is what I'm trying to recapture. Because I think then once the big money started getting into this, it kind of got a little, I think greed and skepticism and just negativity came into some of the scenes. So I wanted to, as Maria said, put the band back together, just recapture that. Just that freshness, that innocence, and fun about it, and make it affordable. But also, there's opportunities there.
So, all of your exploration, throughout this, you've used several different types of blockchains, right? So it would be really interesting to know what your experience has been like with each of the ones that you've used or incorporated in your work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the first one was, of course, Bitcoin using Counterparty. And that was so, it was like the Odyssey. It was just all the things you had to learn. And first you got to, and this is before exchanges that, so you got to learn how to get on an exchange. And it was hard to get Bitcoin in the first place if you're not mining it. And how do you do that? And so figuring out that. And then you got to, the early process of these, they were still figuring out back in 2017. And I don't even know if Ethereum had NFT. No, Ethereum, I think, was just starting to have NFT protocols. Shortly after that, they solidified that in that year. So, but on Counterparty, you had to get not just the Bitcoin, you also had to get this token called Counterparty. So you had to learn about how to do it, and then it's a different market. And because I knew this was the future, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll just spend hours trying to figure out this and learning and you're just reading stuff. And it's not like there's like official help files anywhere. It's, a lot of these things are decentralized. So you just got to scrounge and find good sources and network and talk to people and a lot of trial and error. And along the way, you meet some friends. So that's really cool about it. Like the people that made it through that gauntlet, so to speak, It's like, okay, I made it through. I figured it out. You kind of feel like you're smart, even though you're not. You just had a lot of help along the way, um, and so that was like an odyssey. And then Ethereum comes out, and that was in the beginning. It was refreshing because it was a little bit easier. You just needed one cryptocurrency called Ethereum, and you just had to download one thing, usually called MetaMask, a wallet to hold your Ethereum. But you still also had to grab it from an exchange, and you had to pay these gas fees, and it's hard to figure out. And then places like SuperRare make it easy by creating a market for NFTs and Maker's Place, and that was great. I'm really grateful to be part of that early wave of things. But again, because Ethereum had a number of just network problems. They weren't, and they've tell you this going in. Hey, this thing isn't going to be the real thing, the final thing for years. So they tell you that. So, but people don't care. They just want to build. They want to build. They're crazy about this stuff. They want to build, and so once the network gets clogged, and then all the transaction fees go up, then the problems come. And so it was around that time, in probably the first network clog, I was like, okay, guys, we got to go somewhere else. So I was thinking it was going to be EOS. So I actually worked as a co-founder of another marketplace, and we started a marketplace for NFTs on EOS, and we did that, learned a lot, released some art on there too, and there's no transaction fees, and it's fast, and it's a solid solution for how to release art on EOS, called Pixios. And meanwhile, Wax says, you know what? I see the good things from Bitcoin. I see the good thing from Ethereum. I learned from EOS. And EOS is open source code. Let me just take EOS, the code that runs the EOS blockchain, and make another blockchain, which is it's okay. They're not like stealing it. That was the plan all along for EOS. Let me make it and gear it exactly towards releasing art fast, learning from all the victories and shortcomings of some of these other groups, and they nailed it. And so, and the proof is, people are, these large brands are coming and using it, and they vet stuff. They're not like, I'm not going to be putting Major League Baseball cards on, some experimental network run by a bunch of nerds in the garage and hopefully it'll work. Like they vetted this, and it's, and this is where I think not a lot of fine art has moved over to Wax yet. So I'm in kind of that first wave of it. So I think I've kind of, by the grace of God, been involved in the beginning of most of these things. So I'm just glad we're here. I'm glad my daughter's with me too, and the rest of the ArtVndngMchn crew.
Yeah, despite this mass influx of people coming into the space, there's still so much to explore. So yeah, Wax that sounds amazing. So what would be your advice to future, blockchain devs, crypto art platforms, crypto music platforms? What would your advice be to them, having experienced all of this on these different blockchains?
Yeah, I would do three things. I would pray for wisdom. I would do your research, and don't just use one chain, because I think part of the insight that I've gotten is being able to see these different chains, see what's good, see what I wish was different, and make your own decision. Because the other thing I do like to throw out a disclaimer is that this is still relatively new technology. There's no guarantees with any, like none of these blockchains come with a guarantee, like none of them. The internet doesn't promise you to always work. It's a network that we hope will always work, but all this stuff, you need electricity and you need the internet for it to work. So if people are fine with that, and they're fine with the fact that this is still an emerging market, cryptocurrency is still an emerging market, if they're fine with that, and they do the research on what that means, and what some of the regulations are and how to, understanding that there are taxable events when you sell your art and you receive crypto. That's not free, untaxable money. Even a lot of people want it to be. If you're in most governments, they will want to tax that as income. So you have to understand that. Just don't think, hey, I got free money and it's all mine and nobody can touch it. And that's, well, yeah, that's kind of true. But your taxing body may have something to say about it. So so you want to comply with whatever laws you need to and learn about this space. And certainly, obviously, I don't want to put down any of the blockchains. I think they all I think there's room for all of them, honestly. The Wax, Ethereum, Counterparty, there's room for all of them. And I think as time progresses, they'll sort out stuff. Right now, Wax is sorted it all out the best at this time. And join us.
That's awesome. So I would love for you, Maria, as well as you, Joe, to share with me what type of advice you would give to other artists coming into the crypto art world. Be good to get both angles.
Sure. Maria, do you want to go first?
Sure. I don't know. I would say to keep an open mind, obviously, is probably the biggest thing. Well, because initially I was like, oh no, this seems to be like, is this really in line with my values and like art and like, commodifying myself and my art and all these like sort of ideas like that coming to me, which are valid.
Yeah.
But to keep an open mind, because it's kind of opening up to me like, oh, like maybe I could sustain myself by making art, which is the eternal dream, so yeah, keep an open mind, even if you think it's something that you reject, just sort of, be open to it.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, I was in traditional publishing on paper, print books when the internet came out, and some guys talked me into getting a website and they ran it for me, and I still don't understand what the internet was. This is like 96, 97. And so after a while they had the website, and I'm like, well, what happens when I'm not on the website? Does the website go away? And I just couldn't understand that when I walked away from it, it would still be on. That was a new concept. So there's a lot of some of these same paradigms in NFT space, crypto art, rare digital art. And so it's just learning to be patient. And I think what Maria said is keeping up. My other daughter is Anna. I run through all the names. I find the right one. Maria, Luke, Anna.
My mom and my dad do the same thing. So.
I guess it's a human thing. So got nothing wrong with me. So yeah, keep an open mind and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just throw all your money into this. Like, just test the waters out and do your research. Don't think you're going to be an overnight sensation. Cast your bread upon the waters. Just get in gradually, learn, make friends, like not fake friends that you could step on to the next level, but real friends. Like, build relationships, and then even if it doesn't accelerate at the pace you want, you'll still be getting a lot out of it. I do think there is a danger of people getting into this because they think they're going to get rich, and that is a mistake, and they will be let down. But if you're coming in because this is a bridge to more opportunity, then you get it. And that's really what it is. And whether, there's only so much room for everybody to be able to make a living wage off of art. That's just the economics of it. Like, think about how many people, like the colleges are cranking out artists, even now during the pandemic, winding down. They're cranking out artists, but there's not jobs for these artists. So, and there's not the because art is at a high price point for the most part, it's priced out of affordability, like the originals. For most people in a challenged economy, this is something that people will need to understand, that not everybody's going to make a living at it. But if you look for opportunities and also study economics and business, you just may be able to survive in this. You really might. But there's no guarantees. I mean, there's none at all. But keep doing what you love and you'll figure out a way to fund it.
Yes. That's just great advice overall.
Thanks.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to say that hasn't been mentioned, or a message that you want to give to the audience? Anything?
Well, for me, I'm old school. I use Twitter. Okay, now, some of the younger people laugh, but in crypto, Twitter is a big thing. And so I release a lot of the announcements on this on my Twitter, which is Joey Chips, like potato chips, but Joey Chips. And so any news about the project, sometimes we give out freebies, so we give out free NFTs on the Joey Chips Twitter. So you could just follow me there, and you'll get updates about the project. And then, of course, it will be out May 8th. That you could go to Atomic Hub to buy that. There's ArtVndngMchn.com that, again, without the vowels except for the A, ArtVndngMchn.com, and that'll have the full project details there. And I'm just excited to get your Wax wallet ready. You just need a username and a password. You don't need to download anything. Get it now, so that on the day of, you'll need to get some wax. So that means you'll have to exchange, use a credit card to buy these wax tokens, because it's not for sale for USD. We're selling the packs for wax. To do that, and you'll be ready. And if you have any questions, you can contact anyone on the project.
Okay. And also, if you have, if you're you can exchange it.
Wax you could buy on Bittrex. It's another U.S. exchange called Bittrex.
Okay.
Or if you just go to the Wax Cloud wallet and just get a wallet, from within that wallet, it has an exchange. It has a vendor where you could buy it from using, I think, a debit card or a credit card. So you actually don't need to go to an exchange like Bittrex. You can go to Bittrex and buy it, or you could just get a Wax Cloud wallet. If you just Google Wax Cloud wallet, you'll find it. And then from within that interface, once you have a username and password and address, then you could buy your wax tokens.
Okay. Also, Maria, did you want to say anything else, like a message to the audience, a conversation you'd like to have?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of ArtVndngMchn, and yeah, it's not something that I ever thought I would do. Like, never. I did not imagine myself getting into cryptocurrency or digital art at all ever, but I am really happy to be doing it.
Yeah. That makes me wonder, do you see yourself doing more of this?
Well, yeah, kind of after, so we've all been pretty busy the past couple of weeks within the project, finishing up pieces and writing descriptions and sort of sending them to my dad, and he's been promoting it, and we've been promoting it a little bit. Wow, I lost my train of thought. It's just gone. But anyway,
I was just wondering if you plan to do more work.
Yeah.
Outside of the project.
I have been planning to ask my dad, sort of okay, how do I keep doing this? I really enjoy doing it. Why this was so appealing to me is I like having here are the parameters, see what you can do within these parameters. That's very appealing to me. So anyway, yeah, I do want to keep doing it. It's a lot of fun, and I like just sort of making quick art, and it feels like play, and that's why I like it. Yeah.
So as far as the parameters, is that something that you're giving yourself, or are you going to seek that from?
No, I just mean within this specific project, it was just like in terms of like pixels and like file size, like see, it's like
Okay.
the cooking equivalent would be like Chopped or something, a show like that where it's like chefs have to see what they can do. For me, it was like, all right, let's see what I can make within this square and this file size, and a lot of things grew out of that.
So are there any other projects that you want to talk about outside of ArtVndngMchn? Any exhibits, shows?
Yes. So we're doing this as a series. So this would be considered series one. And when it's successful, and we've taken a breather, we'll probably get the band back together again and possibly do another series of art vending machines. The vending machine will be replenished, and we'll put more art in. And I am in talks with a developer to then create a dedicated site where it is more of a 3D interactive experience with the vending machine, where it would release NFTs. And then we're also in something called the Uplift world, is a 3D Minecraft gallery space where you can go and walk in your 3D Minecraft avatar, and you could build in Minecraft as usual, or you can go and view the art as if you're in a gallery setting, and then eventually there'll be links to buy those NFTs if you want, or you can just walk through and view them. And there's two worlds we're building, and one is in creative mode of Minecraft, and that's easy. Your avatar won't, it's a lot easier to play. But then some of the more hardcore gamers, it's called survival mode, and so you have to view the art while you also stay alive and not get killed. Not in the real world, just in this Minecraft world. So yeah, there's some fun stuff coming down the line, and the art in this project will be part of that. And I have land in both the survival area and also in the creative area. So yeah, I think that the sky's the limit with this stuff. We want basically having people like Maria in the project that are fresh, hungry. It just it's like the Force Awakens kind of. And just all of a sudden I see it all. And she's a talented musician. So eventually she may put, if she wants, her songs. There's some songs on here because we have she may put some of her songs out there as NFTs with the album art and things like that. So you could do, because the rare digital art is, the token is your proxy to sell the art digitally online. You could really have any digital item that you have the intellectual property for as a vehicle to trade or share and gift. And there'll be there's a lot of gifting going on in this community, which is really cool. We're just having fun and creating opportunity.
Love it. I'm really interested in the whole survival mode thing. Has that ever? I mean, I'm thinking about something like crypto voxels on Ethereum, right? There's not that type. I've always wondered, are they ever going to make it something like what you're talking about, like a survival mode type of thing? So that really interests me.
It's crazy.
I mean, is that available on any other platform or blockchain or?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, it's the first I've heard of something like this.
But I'm not an expert on 3D worlds, so as far as I understand, it's the first time. It's this Minecraft thing that is in the Uplift. It's a Minecraft server that the Uplift runs, where you could buy land and build your gallery in either survival mode or creative mode. And this community is going to be run. You'll be able to earn wax in here. You'll be able to trade for items using wax or go to links and stuff like that. It's like the beginning of this sort of online metaverse, 3D metaverse that people keep talking about. So yeah, because wax is easy to use and fast, and transactions are non-transaction fees are not there. There's no transaction fees. It's a great ecosystem.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Very, very awesome. So where can people find you? And that question is for both you, Joe, and Maria / family photo.
Maria?
I am on Instagram at famly.photo. And also Twitter, which I'm new to Twitter, but I'll be using it, I suppose.
Yeah. That's where all the collectors
and
and artists
don't let you put in dots in Twitter. So I think it's just famly photo, which I know is confusing. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for spelling that out so people actually know. So.
And then for me, I'm Joey Chips on Twitter. You can find me there, Joey Chips, like potato chips, but Joey Chips on Twitter. And then if you go to ArtVndngMchn.com, take out all the vowels except for the A in art. That's how you'll find information about the project. ArtVndngMchn.com without the vowels except for the A.
Okay. Yeah. And you're also on other platforms, Maker's Place. Where else?
Oh yeah. You can find me on Maker's Place. Is my name, Joe Chiappetta, 2 P's, 2 T's, super rare, same thing. And you can find me I'm in a lot of places. If you go to sillydaddy.net, that's where everything on the books, the art, the blog, it's all there. Sillydaddy.net. You can find it there too. That's kind of my official page.
Awesome. Great. Is there anything else?
I'm just very grateful. I'm grateful that you took the time to just kind of to draw us out. I really appreciate that, Emery. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Oh, awesome. Yes. Thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. If you haven't already, please help support this channel by subscribing, clicking on the notification bell, and smashing that like button. Thank you, my rare digital birds. Until next time, fly high.